On Monday, we observed Martin Luther King Day, the national holiday commemorating what would have been the 87th birthday of the civil rights leader who was assassinated in 1968. Springfield will mark the occasion with a midday event at the Mass Mutual Center. I was joined recently by representatives from the 4 organizations that are key sponsors of that event to talk about what's planned and even more so about the real meaning and importance of the day.
Well, the importance is to be able to recognize the legacy of a man who inspired us to want to achieve more for ourselves as a society. And so the coming together, even the partners, represents that. So we're just a microcosm of what Dr. King looked to be able to inspire. Here we have the arts community, we have higher education, joining with us all together to be able to provide some hope and inspiration to our community. And we engage with young people. You'll see multiple things that we'll talk about here on the show today that are all designed very intentionally. Even the spoken word that will be presented is about inspiring folks to make real, in some way, Dr. King's dream of a beloved community.
Eileen McCaffrey, Executive Director, Community Music School of Springfield. You've been involved with this a number of years now. It is, as Ron Johnson says, a very diverse group of people, of interests, organizations, community institutions that come together really as one to make this happen.
That's right, and we're so excited that each year it seems the groups continue to grow and to deepen, and the work continues to grow and deepen, because as Ron said, this collaboration, which the Community Music School is so proud to be a part of, it continues to resonate in the community, where we engage young people in workshops and in their school groups. In the public schools, this preparation has been going on for months and months, getting ready for this opportunity to showcase the engagement that the young people have. And in the community work that we're doing, the partnerships with MLK Family Services, workshops, the students and the children get to have a sense of what does this mean to be part of a bigger community conversation. They're really brought into the conversation by being able to participate. So it's really a beautiful way to engage not just the young people, but the families and the broader community.
Dr. Calvin Hill, Eileen McCaffrey talks about the growth of this operation. You represent Springfield College, you're vice president there for inclusion and community engagement. And your title kind of says it all, getting involved. Your school has decided to be a part of this in a big way, jumping right in. The importance of that for you, for Springfield College, to be part of this community day.
Absolutely. I joined the campus in July. And in coming to the campus community, one of the things that I found out very quickly is that Dr. King was our 1964 commencement speaker. During that address, he challenged us. He charged our students to see our commonality. And he questioned how they were going to make a difference in the world. And when you look at what our mission is right now, it is to see ourselves in reference to mind, body, and spirit, and in service to leadership for all. And when you think about that, our students are going out into the world and they're making a difference. They're taking that charge that was given to us in 1964 by Dr. King, and they're living that legacy today. So from my perspective, it absolutely made sense that we as a campus community, we're going to partner with our community and be a part of this organization, be a part of this day.
My friend Benjamin Smith, Executive Director, Dream Studio, hadn't forgotten about you. You're kind of the impresario of this. You're the guy that's working with kids all the time in the arts, as Eileen and her folks are at Community Music School. This is huge in terms of presentation. There's music, there's dance, yes, there's oratory. Real quickly, and I know we can't mention every group, I'm sorry, I wish we could, but this is a big, big event coming up 11 to 1 at Mass Mutual on Monday.
It's extremely huge, and we have great number of performers. We have the Freedom Choir. We have a community choir as well, directed by Terrence Haynes. And we have Dream Studios and Martin Luther King Festival. We have the Community Music Schools Festival Orchestra, and it's going to be just a great event. And one of the key things that it brings a lot of people together. And our mission at Dream is dramatically reaching everyone's artistic mentality. And this is a beautiful platform to reach everyone's artistic mentality.
Ron Johnson, let me ask you, let's expand a little bit on what our friend Dr. Hill just was talking about. Dr. Martin Luther King, and granted, here we are almost 50 years since his death.
That's right.
And what an amazing job, I think, our society in many ways and the African-American population have done in keeping his memory alive. So many of us know so little of our history. I think just about everybody knows Dr. King, and there are a lot of reasons for that. But as Dr. Hill was alluding to, he was a tough guy. When he
Yes.
spoke, he didn't just say nice stuff about, let's do it, let's do it. He said, hey, you know, look in the mirror.
Well,
It's up to you.
Yeah, he spoke about the moral injustices and that racism, any form of oppression, and even today, we still have a long way to go. We've made some gains. I think that all of us would agree that we've made some gains as a society, but there's still so much more to do, and including the young people from our community, I believe is some of our greatest hope, is to be able to give them the message that Dr. King aspired to, that he charges all with in terms of moving to a higher ground and realizing that they too can be a part of what Dr. King referred to as the beloved community. So inspiring that in those young folks, and hopefully their parents will have a conversation with them at the end of the day about what they experienced, and that our community leaders will be inspired to move it to another level of decency and appropriateness and engagement in real conversations about how we've pushed for change in our community.
And I mean, that's the title this year, I know, The Beloved Community, Reclaiming the Dream of the Beloved Community. And I mean, this really is a beloved community that comes together, Eileen McCaffrey, to make this 2-hour event happen, isn't it?
That's right. It's exactly that. Even we were talking that the process that leads up to this day is as important as the day. The process is this engagement, this sense of care for the person next to you, putting together on, we're going to have rehearsals where there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids from all different schools here in Springfield and outside of Springfield, standing shoulder to shoulder, singing songs, playing music, doing dance. It's all these opportunities for us to realize how much we need each other and how welcome we are to express our creativity and to do it in a way that makes our families proud, makes our community proud. There's going to be a lot of people looking up and thinking, wow, who knew that you could put 600 people kids on a stage and they would...
And 600 diverse kids who represent the diversity of Western Massachusetts and this community also.
Ben Smith, we've got about a minute and a half left. I want to get a comment from each of you here on my left here, but there's an enormous, I would think, pride and satisfaction, not just for you, but for the young people you work with, to do this, to prepare for this, to be part of this.
Yes, it's beautiful to spark the creativity in these young people and just to see them shine as stars when they're on that stage, and just the pride that they walk away with and the feeling they get when they leave and they talk to their parents and their friends and they reflect on the day. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Dr. Hill, as you mentioned, you're new to the community and new to Springfield College, but you've stepped deep into this big event. Your sense of what it should mean to all of us this day, this Monday.
Absolutely. What I think we're looking at is it is a day on, and it's not a day off. And I think this program sets the stage for that. Our young people have been preparing for months to have this day on, and they're going to live with this for the rest of their life, many of them. And they're going to remember the effort, the time, and the attention, and the detail that they put into this performance that they're going to be doing, and they're going to have a day on. They're going to take that and they're going to contribute in other ways in their community, in this community.
Thank you all so much for this event. 11 to 1, open, free of charge. Everybody is welcome. Be there at Mass Mutual Center, Martin Luther King Day.